So everyone's peak Bitcoin versus ETH right now. But then there's the magic of the ETF, and people are so predictable. So right now, everyone's front running the Bitcoin ETF. And exactly as you say, Ovi, the next thing that's going to happen, the moment that that is out, it'll be, fuck, the ETH ETF is coming.
Yep.
And all of that capital that was front running that will just be washed into the ETH trade, which will hypercharge that wedge and kicks off towards the summer.
Real Vision co-founder and chief executive officer Raoul Pal is no doubt one of the biggest Ether bulls in the space. He has made several bold price predictions about the largest altcoin in the past, most notably his 2021 prediction that the largest altcoin will hit $20,000 by 2025. Though there haven't been any significant price moves since Pal made that prediction, he has remained bullish on the largest altcoin primarily because of its growing network effects and many use cases. Pal is again bullish on Ether, which he predicts will have significant upside moves in 2024 and beyond. According to Pal, the big narratives for the 2024/2025 bull market are already being formed, but many crypto investors are blissfully unaware of them. In a recent interview with Rekt Radio, Pal identifies two top cryptocurrencies that he guarantees will perform very well during the bull market. The first is, of course, Ether, and the second is Solana, Pal's new favorite crypto asset, which he predicts will really outperform other top cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ether in 2024. The former Goldman Sachs executive has been expressing strong optimism for the future trajectory of Salana since he learned about the development of FireDancer, a new validator client for the Solana blockchain. Currently, Solana's network is dependent on a single original validator client developed by Solana Labs. FireDancer has been dubbed the long-term fix to Solana's past network outage problems. Its advent as an alternative validator client aims to optimize Solana's network performance while also adding a layer of security by lowering the risk of software-induced outages. Pal's optimism is shared by many Solana investors, as evidenced by the altcoin posting 30-day gains of over 80% amid the testnet launch of the long-awaited scaling solution. We will now bring you clips from Pal's interview as the renowned macro guru discusses his outlook on Ether, Solana, and the coming cryptocurrency bull market. Please watch, share, and like this video. Also, ensure you subscribe to the channel and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
I had a very small position, that $180 position. That was a FOMO position at the time. But really, I started buying in June and October last year. And the reason being is I started looking a lot at the ratios between Solana and ETH, the Solana chart itself. And I started thinking, okay, this is actually interesting. This looks to me like we're going to see, I haven't shown the longer term chart, but it's like this wedge pattern. I thought, this looks like this might be the token. And then I see everybody talking about it as the Sam coin, blah, 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 down 97.5%. I'm like, this is Ethereum from the previous cycle. And so I've been watching it and watching it, watching it. I added and added. And then I've been looking at these longer term charts thinking, what is the story I'm missing? I often start with a chart and then try and figure out what the hell is going on. And look, I saw the compressed NFTs. I think that's a very, very big deal. It's all about, ticketing and all of those use cases. You can see, it's a good, fast chain, lots of community, lots of builders. So it's like, okay, this is great. They're good, high quality people. Tolly is one of the best people in the entire space, I think. But really, I was at Mainnet in New York a few weeks ago, and I heard Colleen Sullivan from Brevin Howard, is a friend of mine, talking about FireDancer. Just dropped into the conversation when she was on stage. I'm like, don't know what that is. I ignored it because she knows a lot more than me. So I just assumed it was something wonky. And then Tolly was on stage talking about FireDancer, and he dropped the thing, oh yeah, Jump Trading have been building this validator, and it's working out at somewhere between 600,000 and 1.2 million TPS. I was like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I went back and I was writing Global Macro Investor with Julian Bittle, and we were on some Zoom call just chatting about stuff. And we were looking at these Solana charts again, thinking, this is breaking out. What the hell is going on? So I went down the FireDancer rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh, okay. What is being built is like the new Solana. I asked Tolly about it publicly on Twitter. When's this coming? It's like, we think it's going to get on testnet by year end, mainnet by the summer. And it's like a total step change of anything that's ever happened in the space in terms of transaction speed and cost. And it increases the security of the Solana SVM. Big picture here. So the macro picture is and we all talked about this on the conversation we had with Real Vision recently, is like, it's the same risk curve as the financial markets. Crypto spring is like spring in the macro economy. Generally, it's a bonds driven. In the credit markets will be treasury bonds. And in crypto, it's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin always outperforms at this point. And then what happens as you start to get into late spring, which is where I think we are now, where we transition towards summer, is you start to see the alts rising. Yep. And then we'll see, and we're right at the bottom of that massive ETH Bitcoin wedge. And we're getting all the demark signals and all of the things that we should be getting that should start leading to the ETH outperformance, which I think will happen, but just because of the network effects of ETH, because of how it's constructed versus Bitcoin. So everyone's peak Bitcoin versus ETH right now. But then there's the magic of the ETF, and people are so predictable. So right now, everyone's front running the Bitcoin ETF. And exactly as you say, Ovi, the next thing that's going to happen, the moment that that is out, it'll be, fuck, the ETH ETF is coming.
Yep.
And all of that capital that was front running that will just be washed into the ETH trade, which will hypercharge that wedge and kicks off towards the summer, the crypto summer. So it's kind of like, I'm wryly observing it because you kind of know how it's going to play out. Yeah. So what we should see, I like to see those things too. You guys all know it when the market is like this, looking to go higher, and there's a massive call seller out there. What happens is it just forces this massive short covering of those positions, or the covering of their delta, and it explodes through in price, which is actually what happened in Bitcoin. There was a bunch of calls out there that were short as well. So yeah, it's setting itself up perfectly for ETH poking everybody in the eye to say, don't forget about me.
Fire Dancer is being developed by Jump Crypto, a division of the Jump Trading Group, a global leader in Web3 infrastructure development and investment. As stated earlier, the validator was created to fine-tune the network performance of the Solana network. According to market intelligence firm Messari, Fire Dancer will fortify Solana's monolithic architecture as it aims to rapidly overhaul each component of the blockchain network's existing architecture. Messari notes that Fire Dancer's initial milestone has shown encouraging results, achieving a transaction speed of 1 million TPS. The market intelligence firm further notes that the successful implementation of Fire Dancer could offer several benefits to the Solana network and the overall cryptocurrency industry. 1. The new independent validator will advance the DeFi sector by reducing latency and enabling high-throughput Web2 applications to function on-chain. It will also bolster Solana's network resilience by introducing client diversity, which will help mitigate risks related to software bugs and maintain performance. During the interview, Pal also does a brilliant breakdown in the macro cycle, critically analyzing where we are and where we are heading in the long run. Here are more clips from the interview.
Basically, to understand the game we're playing, is GDP is driven by population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. The issue is population growth, that's the US, been declining. Working age population is declining. Productivity is declining. And debt has tapped out. That's debt to GDP. So we're like at enormous levels of total debt to GDP. We've got no engines of growth. GDP is what pays the bills. It was what pays the interest on the debt. And trend rate of growth has been falling over time. So this is the big picture view. 2008, some magic happened. The magic was the debt jubilee. The debt jubilee was when the world blew up, when every major economy started to get to 100% of GDP in debt at government level, ignoring the private sector level. Basically, there's not enough GDP to pay for all of the interest payments on the debt. And what they did was this debt jubilee, which was like, you don't need to pay your interest. It's now zero, right? Everybody got given that gift in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that whole period, everybody reset all of their debts to a 3 to 5 year debt cycle. And that funding cycle is now the thing that drives everything. And I'll show you some more on this. And this is only a part of the everything code, but it's part of this whole idea. It also happens to correspond with the Bitcoin halving cycle, and it corresponds with the US election cycle. They're all the same thing. Everything is one cycle right now. And if you understand that cycle, you kind of understand everything. And it will get broken at some point. But to break that cycle needs population growth to change, productivity growth to change, or debt growth to change. If not, we're in this cycle. The population growth is what I think does change, because AI and robots are productive units that basically replace people in the workforce, and they're now and will become infinitely scalable. It's not yet, but by 2030, 2032, something like that, this is infinitely scalable people in terms of productive units. That changes the entire equation for mankind, changes productivity, everything else. So going on to the next chart, the cyclicality here is, here's the ISM, and the ISM 22 months ago is the ISM today inverted. It's because everything has become this incredible cyclicality, which tells us we're at the bottom of the business cycle right now, the recession point, and we're starting to go higher. Now, ISM leads GDP by a quarter, because it's monthly and GDP is quarterly. And so what we're saying is, around a month ago, or 2 months ago, we were at the low of the business cycle, which is why we should see a recessionary quarter. Our weekly leading ISM index also pointing to the business cycle higher, which is the picture that I'm trying to get across for 2024, which is recovering economy, falling inflation, is really what is known as macro summer and crypto summer. That is the holy grail. That is the one where you start to make the real money. And that's coming, and we're very close to it. Usually, you need the ISM to cross up back up through 50 for that to be confirmed, and that's when things start to get a little crazy.
By all early indications, 2024 is going to be a pivotal year for Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency industry. To begin with, 2024 is the year of another Bitcoin halving, an event that has in previous cycles preceded significant price gains for the leading crypto asset. In addition, the industry is gearing up for a massive influx of institutional investors, which begins with the approval of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund. But the most bullish news going into 2024, according to Raoul Pal, is the end of the Fed's quantitative tightening and the beginning of a massive macro and crypto summer. According to the renowned macro analyst and prominent investor, all roads lead to more cowbell for the U.S. government next year. The Federal Reserve will be forced to either cut rates and QT or announce something similar to Japan's yield curve control, which also means more liquidity and massive price gains for the cryptocurrency industry. This is why Pal believes we are still in crypto spring, but gradually heading into a very bullish combination of crypto and macro summer in 2024. According to the Real Vision founder, crypto is going to finish the year strong, but things might go sideways for a brief period in early 2024. But after the halving and an expected liquidity pump from the Federal Reserve and other central banks, he is certain that crypto asset prices will really take off. Pal predicts we will have at least 18 months of a massive bull market, during which prices will really go parabolic. Do you agree with his outlook and predictions for crypto assets like Solana and Bitcoin? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.